the Kremlin. The Kremlin clock strikes 11. It's an interesting contrast here. This is the largest TV tower in Europe. It was the largest in the world until Toronto built their copy of this that we visited when we went skiing with Ross Wortley in 1977, 78 probably. Anyway, interesting contrast because right next door to the beautiful tower is the lovely church. Green domes. We just heard about the love story of this family that built this church and this estate that I'm panning over to here. A lovely estate made of wood. This pink palace was made of wood, and the owner in the 1800s married a serf. They had their own theater, and she was an actress. He married the actress, had a child with her. She died in childbirth, and he built a famous hospital in Moscow that is still the most famous medical center for research that he funded originally. So here are our buses, our yellow buses. We're the last bus. Beautiful day here in the outskirts of Moscow. This might have been near where Steffi and I stayed in 1989. I'm not really sure, but brick church. Lots of clay here, we've been told, so a lot of the brickwork beautifully done. Lots of different size bricks they could make. And then the domes, the onion domes, the onion-shaped edifices on top with, what are those? Look like crows, blackbirds of some sort. Now here's a close-up. This was a wooden structure, all made from wood, except the statues, which might be plaster, but they had plenty of wood back in those days, but then the fires took a lot, so they went into more stone construction after that, we were told. This is the exhibition hall we're going into. This is the archway entrance there. Quite interesting, man and woman holding up.
So you will have free time here as well. Let's say 15 minutes before 12. Will you be back to the bus? The bus will be here. Or
there's the Cosmonaut. Cosmos. That's where we stayed, Stephanie. Cosmos. This is our group, Anna. This is where we stay. We walk through this thing many times. There is the former symbol of communism, of socialist republic. He keeps calling this socialism, not communism. Did not refer to the government as communist, only socialistic. There's some models of storks nesting, and the lamps are constructed like grains of rice. She just said all the SSSR. Forget guide is talking to me through the earphones, describing that this was opened in 1939 for farming, and it then went into the exhibitions for industry and all efforts of workers of Russia. There's Lenin's statue. Pseudonym like Stalin means steel. Lenin was the name of a river near where he came from. There's some Russian people enjoying Shrek. So they've got Disneyland is everywhere. This is a honey drink.
It is sweet.
Mead.
And in the 14th, 15th centuries, the
We're going
people in
to
this
advertise
country
this.
didn't drink much. They drank only on 3 occasions.
It's actually
per year.
Tropicana.
The ending of the harvest, victory of
Baltica beer.
light beer.
It's a light beer.
Like the Baltic Sea.
She's describing products here to us.
Light. And another kind of beer is called the Siberian Crown.
Is that what you got?
Beer, the Siberian Crown.
Siberian Crown. She's holding up now.
Locally made products. The Russians like to drink beer, and if my generation, I'm 37 already, so they usually drank vodka, cognac, strong alcoholic drinks. The modern generation prefers beer, and they drink a lot. The homes of my grandparents. At the very, very young age, I started trying because my grandparents said, so if you come to somebody's place and they ask you what you drink, what would you say? I do not know. They would ask you, don't you have grandparents? They were supposed to teach you, you know. I mean, we had a history of the exhibition, and people would spend all day long here, going from one pavilion to another. Ice cream was 10 kopeck. 10 kopeck. The tram was free of charge. The pavilions were free of charge. Only movie was about 10 or 15 kopecks. So when I was a child, I do not remember the answer of my parents like no money, because everything was either free of charge or the name is the friendship of the peoples of the USSR. We are surrounded with many different pavilions. For example, the pavilion over there, white in color, represents Armenia. The pavilion number 71 represents Azerbaijan. The pavilion on our left represents don't know. It is not written over there, one of the republics. They put the sign away. As far as I remember, it was Belarus. If my memory is not that bad, so that was Belarus. The next pavilion, smaller in size, represented Kyrgyzstan, and so on and so forth. You know, people were very friendly to each other. You can recognize some Moorish details as well, Oriental details, and of course in the center you see the hammer and the sickle. Russia is the country of workers and peasants. And the people who are workers are very much respected. You know, today if a person is a worker, he's shy to say that. And what do you do as a job? It's okay to say I'm a manager. It's okay to say I'm a banker. It's okay to say I'm a prostitute. But it is not okay to say I'm a teacher, I am a worker, I'm an officer, because it sounds like I am a loser. That means you do not make money. It's all about money now. I was raised in the country where it was not good manners to discuss money. And for a number of years, I felt very uncomfortable when I had to discuss money. For example, my salary. I do not feel like that anymore because I have to pay for the education of my son. I have to pay all my bills. I have to pay the doctors. I have to pay everywhere, on every step, including the toilet, which is 15 rubles. I beg your pardon. I'm not shy anymore. Since you put me in the conditions like that, I'm not working here, right? I'm making money. all right, you put me into this.
Leaving.
Get the product. Was asked a question, is it better now? The dog was a philosopher. He thought for a little while and then said, well, the dog actually remembered Khrushchev. He had a long life. Khrushchev, Brezhnev, Yeltsin, Gorbachev, Andropov, and all the others. And he said, well, they have made the rope 5 meters longer, but they have moved the plate 10 meters away. And bark as much as you want. Our guests like to ask, do you have the democracy? This is their favorite question. Do you have democracy in this country? And how it works? I prefer to tell them another joke. Once an American asked a Russian guy, do you have democracy in the country? The Russian one asked, what do you mean, democracy? Well, democracy is when I can stand in front of the White House and say President Bush is a fool. The Russian thought for a little while and then said, yes, we have democracy, because I also can stand in front of the Kremlin and say President Bush is a fool.
Okay, it's shooting. We're taking a break from our pavilion walk around, get our head down into the camera frame, having an Atlanta-based Coca-Cola product here in the area Moskva, across from the Cosmos Hotel that Steffi and I stayed in 1989. Steph, remember? We had such a good time here. And how are you doing, my dear?
It
Feeling
is
better?
very nice today, very nice and warm, but we're from Atlanta, so
We're
who cares?
used to this.
Who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah. Oh, look at the bee is going in here. The bee likes your coca.
Yeah, let's make sure we don't drink it from the bees.
There's just a few minutes left on this disc that we will complete in a few moments. Let's go this way, up, down, whoop, now it's upside down. Good day, my dear, as it winds down.
Of the day today,
Of
it
the day
just started.
today, yeah. It's 11 o'clock.
We're going to be, this is the old Russia. This is before, when communism was in full swing. All the different buildings and all the different states or provinces or whatever you want to call them, with all the glory and all the stuff. And this afternoon we're going to inside the Kremlin, and which is one big museum